Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's a regular board meeting for the Lammersville Unified School District Board of Education. Is it really June 1st?
It is June 1st.
It's June 1st. Call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For the audience, please note that the meeting is being recorded, and if everyone would please silence their cell phones at this time. Roll call.
Matthew Balzerini.
Here.
Colin Clements.
Here.
Sharon Lampel.
Absent.
Shane Nielsen.
Here.
David Pombo. Here. Samantha D. Tiberis.
Absent.
Approval and/or corrections of the agenda?
There are none.
I move we approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports. Item A, facilities use.
The Facilities Use Committee meeting was, fairly standard. We did open up the high school track, and as far as I'm understanding it, there hasn't been any issues other than maybe a misunderstanding by a staff member that people weren't supposed to be on, but it was handled well by the school and no issues. There is going to be an additional concern because space is starting to get tight again. We're growing in all of our sports, but part of that came to we're looking to try and add and increase windows for applications during the summertime and trying to relook at that structure because it just didn't allow for what we're doing and making accommodations. So we're actually going to be setting up and getting the applications and using the website, hopefully, to get the majority of this stuff done. It'll be our first real test if whether or not that website can do what it is we want it to do, and come back to the next meeting and hopefully have just a few issues to be resolving, and that most of this stuff will be handled by the computers or the committee and kind of leave district staff to take care of district business instead of facility business. There are some amendments to the handbook that if you had any questions about, but realistically speaking, it was a lot about the changing of the time frames and trying to add for a few different things. A couple of discussions about whether or not there should be some changes to the tier structures, but I think none of that's going to be changing that we could discuss. So I don't know if you recall anything else you want to add, Mr. Pombo. It was a fairly standard meeting, so that was about it.
Are we still getting participation from the public?
A little bit. It's mostly from the organizations. Like this one was, a specific organization that had concerns because, as we've said all along, at some point we're drawing a line on when the applications are due, and it's going to fall in the middle of someone's seasons. Yeah. So, this sports organization had an issue on both sides. I think the committee will be able to start reducing its meetings down if the website does what it's supposed to do. We're going to have our next meeting. That'll be the first major application session. We'll see how that goes. What I proposed was that the initial disputes about anyone who's denied something, we handle it at this committee level first so that we're not involving district staff or school site staff since they're not here, and then try and address that. But the community participation is really only when things are being told no. So I get the sense that after this summer, we might be able to drop down the meetings from monthly to maybe quarterly.
Nice.
I'm hoping. And again, I think the rest of the committee, at least that's here, would agree. It's been fairly standard stuff for the most part.
Oh,
So
very good. Thank you for the work on that. Item B, District Advisory Committee. We met on the 23rd and finalized the LCAP. The first reading is in tonight's packet. Item C, District English Language Advisory Committee.
The last meeting was on May 19th. It was fairly well attended. And the focus of the meeting was to review the changes in the LCAP and discuss how those changes impact English learners and develop recommendations to enhance the DLAC program in the district based upon feedback from parents and members of staff that were present.
Very good. Thank you. Item D, Gate Arts Music. Okay,
we haven't had a meeting since our last meeting, and then I don't even believe since the one that I missed. So,
okay.
And I don't think we have one until August. Yeah, so there won't be any reports for a few months.
Okay. Item E, Grant Writing Committee, there's no report. Item F, Safety and Crisis Response, there's no report. Item G, Wellness.
No report. We haven't had a meeting since our last board meeting.
Okay. Governing Board reports. Trustee Clements?
Attended the advancement ceremony for Quest Elementary School. Obviously, I always enjoy, we all always enjoy those. And of course, along with the rest of the board and superintendent and assistant superintendent, attended Mountain House High School's inaugural graduation. That's it for my report.
Trustee Pombo?
I went to the staff barbecue, the end of the year staff barbecue at Mountain House High School. It was very well attended. It was nice to see staff enjoying time together. The next day, my family and I had the pleasure of attending the Mountain House High School dance team production, Pure Energy. These dancers are very talented and have a real passion for dance. Later that evening, we attended the Wickland Elementary Willy Wonka Jr. play, very enjoyable. The students and production staff did a wonderful job, and I would love to see more of this at the schools around our district. My family and I went to the Lammersville Elementary kindergarten graduation. I didn't have a kindergartner for this year, which is a rarity. We also attended the Lammersville end of the year barbecue. Both were well attended by family and friends of students. Later that night, I had the pleasure of attending the 8th grade graduation along with Superintendent Nicholas at Altamont Elementary. It was a very well-run ceremony with excellent student speakers. I really enjoyed it. Last Friday, it was my extreme pleasure to attend the very first ever graduation at Mountain House High School. The ceremony was something that I and many others had awaited for many, many years. It was an especially big day for my family because my daughter, Danielle Isabel Pombo, was a member of the inaugural graduating class. Very proud day. Last but not least, I would like to remind everyone that next Tuesday is Election Day, and I hope everyone votes and votes yes on Measure L. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Trustee Nielsen?
First, I'll start with an apology for missing our last meeting. I had pressing personal business to attend to.
We made the announcement, so you know.
Okay, good. So, but I do thank you all for your understanding in that it did come off on very short notice. So.
Thank you, Esquire.
Selfishly, I attended a few events here in the community, starting with the unselfish one. I went to the year-end staff barbecue and also had a good time, especially the completely uncompetitive Hungry Hippos matchup that I swore several people were going to get hospitalized from just the sheer amount of rolling and turning. And it was, if you haven't seen it, it looks like a blast. I would have participated had they needed some help, but it looked like an absolute blast. And the competitiveness was so fun and well-spirited that I enjoyed it, and I'm hoping to see that continue as a tradition because it looked like a lot of fun. I attended the Willy Wonka play, and yes, I will admit that at least in the one that I attended, there was a fantastic and stellar cast and crew. My daughter was in the play, so it was a very selfish reason for me to attend. But I thought I will agree with Mr. Pombo and thank the district for coming forward with the additional funds from the Gate Art and Music Committee to send to the schools. And whether it's for something like this or some other community-based event, that they take those funds and utilize them in a way that provides additional opportunities for our students and the community. Because that was the best part about this. You couldn't have parked. You couldn't have sat. That place was packed for both shows, and it was. I had a ton of fun. Most of the people I talked to had a ton of fun at it, and they had some additional things too, selling treats and things like that for additional fundraising opportunities. So it was very fun. I attended last week the again selfishly Wickland graduation, and I will also agree that the speakers were very good. One of them kind of went off script a little bit and took a dig at me, which was quite all right because that's what she does. And then Friday attended what has been, for at least Mr. Balzerini and I, a very long time coming, having served on this board and the previous entity for well over 10 years now. To graduate our first class from Mountain House High School was a very, while not my child, those kids were part of me. We've worked very hard as a board and as a community to see that night come off. And once again, it needs to be said, although there's not many people here to hear it, 100% of our seniors graduated. I don't care how big or small your class is. When you can stand up and say every single student graduated, you've done something as a district, as a school, and we should all be, and they should all be very proud of that accomplishment. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. It's been a busy couple weeks with the end of school and a lot of other meetings. Dr. Nicholas, Trustee Pombo, and I met with the union executive boards for both LTA and CSEA. We had a very productive meeting. Sounds like we have a lot of good information flowing now, and we want to keep it that way. I also attended the barbecue, the staff barbecue, which was a lot of fun, and the Bethany, it's not graduation, what do we call it? Promotion, yeah. Bethany promotion ceremony, 92 kids in that class. They had it down to a science. They got them in and out, and it was fun to watch Alvina because it was her first ever elementary school graduation, so right on. And then, of course, the high school graduation was a long time coming, very exciting, and very emotional, I think, for a lot of us. So that concludes my report. Receiving of public comment. No comments. Consent items for consideration. Item A, governing board meeting minutes from May 18th. Approval for contracts under $25,000. There are 2. Item C is approval of the 2016-17 hires. There are 6. Item D, acceptance of resignations. There are 5. Item E, approval of updated 2016-17 fundraisers. And item F, acceptance of donations. There are 7. $100 to the 8th grade class at Lammersville School from Target. Youth wheelchair, $217 value to Bethany School from the Merrill family. Altamont 8th grade class gift, Altamont Elementary School flag. Bethany 8th grade class gift, repainting the mural on the stage. Lammersville 8th grade class gift, $450 donated towards the greenhouse. Cuesta 8th grade class gift, new barbecue for the school events. And Wickland 8th grade class gift, painted mascot mural and pillar with character traits in the Quad Amphitheater. If anyone has any comments or would like to discuss, we can pull them or we can approve them all as one.
I move we approve the consent items as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and since Trustee Lampel is not here, I will welcome our new teachers for the 2016-17 year. Ritu Bathwal, who's an occupational therapist. Susan Craig, a French teacher. Daniel Martinez, special education aide. Karen Perez, coordinator of alternative programs. Holly Stokes, school psychologist. And Mark Williams, a music teacher. Welcome to the district.
Welcome.
Welcome.
I do have a question. It doesn't obviously change the votes. Does anybody here know what the haunted hospital, the HOSA, is anybody familiar with that fundraiser, the haunted hospital for HOSA? It just sounded intriguing. It doesn't matter, but it sounds kind of fun.
District administrative reports. Item A, superintendent's report.
Just really quickly, in the spirit of dads bragging about their kids, though Mr. Pombo was less subtle than Mr. Nielsen, I am also graduating a child from high school. I wish it had been last Friday at Mountain House High School, but Madeline Riley Nicholas is graduating from high school while her father still has a little brown hair on the top of his head. And I was also at the promotion ceremony at Altamont with Trustee Pombo, and I got to tell you, everyone I've talked to on the board that attended these and on staff, high quality, keeping parents' needs in mind, that it's about the kids, and great speeches and tight functions. I mean, we've all been to really poorly run promotion ceremonies, but I want to tip my hat to the team. Thomas Lee was the lead of that, but there was the whole 7-8 team over there did a really good job. So on another note, in terms of some serious focused areas, I want to address public comment that was made 2 weeks ago at our board meeting about conflict in language with our mitigation agreement and an attorney from Trimark. So I'm limited in the amount of specific details I can give, but I think it's important that it be addressed in open session here. Number one, in preparation work with advisors, a piece of the mitigation agreement language was missed, and as a result, it created a conflict with language within the bond resolution. When that was brought to our attention, the district began working in all earnest with the members of Trimark who brought that forward as a concern. Number 2, and this is a very important point, language conflicts get resolved. It is the goal of all organizations, whether it's a government organization or a corporation or a school district or a philanthropic organization, that when there's a conflict, conflicts get resolved at the lowest level possible. This district is committed to resolving this issue and a conflict over language at the lowest level possible and has been working to get that done since it was brought to our attention. I want to thank, thirdly, President Balzerini, Trustee Pombo, who met representing our district, met with the principals of Sunchase Holdings Trimark on Tuesday, the 24th of May, to discuss this very issue of language. In that conversation, it was very positive, it was very productive, and at the end of it, terms were agreed upon, and we left in a very good shape towards a resolution and an official agreement. Those terms have been worked on by attorneys representing our district and Sunchase Holdings in the past days, including today and yesterday. And so I'm happy to report that our district's work and the work of Trimark Holdings, we're moving very rapidly to an agreement that would be official. And at this point in time, there is terms that have been agreed upon and language being written up that is agreeable to both sides based on the meeting from May 24th last week. I am confident that this language conflict, which will be resolved soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Item B, District Maintenance and Operations Report. Mr. LeGrand.
Good evening. Thanks for having me here. Happy to report everything went well last week. I had no issues as far as graduation. Everything went great. So school's out. Summer cleaning has started all the schools. I visited all the school sites. Everything is progressing nicely the last couple days. The contractor mobilized yesterday at Mountain House High School, started moving the dirt for the tennis courts. So that project is underway. I believe it's a 45-day contract, so it should be done about the middle of July-ish range. And then this morning, had a big meeting at Altamont with the subcontractor, contractor about the flooring issues. We walked the whole campus, identified with blue tape every issue in all the buildings. They're going to get all corrected. They're going to finish up the work probably in about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I'm confident moving forward. We won't have any more issues. We have identified the problems, so I'm hopeful we'll get this resolved, kind of put this behind me, and move on from there. And that's all I have. That's my brief report. Any questions?
The comments on Altamont, that was as a result of the water?
There was issue with the carpet, and then we did some work, you may remember, over spring break.
And we held some off until after school was out, right?
Yeah,
Is
there
that
were
what
some
you're
issues
referring
with
to?
the installation over spring break, as far as some bubbles, some seams, some fraying along the edges of the transition strips. We identified all those issues. They're going to go back and fix everything, make it last. I mean, this carpet is supposed to last a dozen years or more, so we can't have issues 2 months in. So, go ahead.
Just to clarify, that had nothing to do with the water issue, right? That was a separate issue.
No, it was more of an installation issue. We did look at the science wing, the G wing. There's a moisture issue with the vinyl underneath there. And what we're going to do is pull that vinyl, clean the glue off, leave it bare concrete for a while and see what happens. Hopefully it'll dry out. If not, we'll have to take other measures. But right now, it's just going to be stripped, left to dry, and go on from there. So.
And these are all warranty issues?
All warranty issues, so nothing on the district. We just want to make sure we get a good product that's going to last us a dozen years or so, hopefully longer.
Thank you for the fall through.
Yeah, no problem.
Just a quick update on everybody's favorite topic, the Gophers. How are we doing
At which school?
at Wickland, mostly?
Yeah, we're on Gopher Patrol now that summer's here. And so we're going to hit them hard now that the kids aren't around. So I walked the campus a week before school's out to identify the trouble. There's a section of the lawns that are in trouble. So
There's some out front, but I'm not as worried about that.
they're more in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, more on the back side of the school.
The
Yeah,
hill on the front has some, it looks like they're all migrating out there, which is if they're going to live anywhere, live there.
yeah.
Don't
I
live
mean,
on
you got to
the
be careful with the kids around, what you actually can do, but just
Now that they're gone.
Healthy
That's why I'm
Schools Act, all
asking
this
for-
kind of stuff. So now that no one's around, we have a little more leeway to do some more
Lammersville still facing similar problems too, or I thought it was doing a little bit better at least, but,
I haven't heard any issues at Lammersville. This has mainly been Wickland,
okay, all right.
so,
Thank you.
cool. Thank you.
Action items. Item A, consider approval of the 2015-16 inter-district transfer requests. Staff report.
None.
Move to approve 2015-2016 inter-district transfer requests.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item B, consider approval of the 2016-17 inter-district transfer requests. Staff report.
None.
Move to approve 2016-2017 inter-district transfer requests.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item C, consider approval of amendment number 7 to the 2015-16 Facilities Use Rental Policy Handbook. Trustee Nielsen, any report? Or Alvina, either way.
Go ahead, Albina.
I know we have it on page, God, it's hard to see these numbers, page 15, the Amendment 7. We've been working very hard, especially the last couple of months, trying to get the handbook completely ready for full board approval, the second meeting in June versus in August. Amendment 6 was a page and a half. Amendment 7 includes allowing the availability of the facilities over the summer pending coverage and pending that there are no maintenance custodian needs. The other was to make sure that the propane tanks that we had initially denied approval of, Keenan does allow it. Of course, we're going to need to go back and add the guidelines for propane use. So I do have those samples that we will add in the future handbook change. And I think that's it, the grills and do's and don'ts.
Yep.
Any board discussion?
Nope.
I move we approve Amendment 7 to the 2015-2016 Facilities Use Rental Policy Handbook.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item D, consider approval of Proposition 39 Facility Solutions Agreement and District Energy Management and Training Services. Staff report.
I'll defer to Alvina.
I know that we started this process quite a few months ago. I believe it was when Mr. Nolan was here, and we had Chris Bristow present for a couple of meetings presenting to you, and then at another meeting, we approved Scenario 2. This is finally moving forward to the next stage so we can begin these projects of approving a resolution that you want to move forward with the identified needs for energy improvement. Most of them are at Lammersville. Am I forgetting anything? I'm looking over at Chris Bristow. I thank him for all the work that he's provided for us this last year, just making sure that we're moving in the right direction and getting our energy proposal submitted, approved. That's good news.
Any board discussion?
A question. We've already discussed this, but I wanted it on the record. I noted that the payment terms are pretty aggressive. We pay pretty fast, which is beyond what's standard in the industry, but you usually get, you get a price point if you're willing to do that kind of thing. And so the question is, did we get a price point in exchange for those kinds of aggressive payment terms?
Yes, we did.
Thank you.
And also, I just feel the need to make note that there's no impact on the LCFF funding.
No, all of this is strictly
report.
paid for, and one of Chris Bristow's company's responsibilities is to make sure that any change orders do not cost the district any money.
And that's a very, very detailed agreement. I reviewed it. Yeah. Well done.
Engineers do have a tendency to be precise. You think lawyers are bad. I move we approve Proposition 39 Facility Solutions Agreement and District Energy Manager and Training Services.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item E, consider approval of Governing Board Resolution 151616, approving the findings for Prop 39 and of the Facility Solutions Agreement between Lammersville Unified School District and Indoor Environmental Services for the purpose of construction and installation of energy efficiency measures on selected district sites. Anything further from staff?
No.
I move we approve Governing Board Resolution 151616.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent.
Do roll call?
Roll call.
Roll call.
And roll call.
Matthew Balzerini.
Aye.
Colin Clements.
Aye.
Sharon Lampel.
Absent.
Shane Nielsen.
Aye.
David Pombo.
Aye.
Thank you. Item F. Consider approval of revised CSEA classified job description and salary for information systems support technician. Staff report?
This is a position, as we expand, responsibilities expand. This is a support position for our the technology and softwares that support the data that we have to collect through CalPads, Aries, and the like. Since Trustee Lampel is not here, I can assure everyone that it's been through the CSEA 610 process, and we're bringing it forward for approval tonight.
Board discussion?
Yeah, I have a question, and maybe my question was misunderstood. It looks to me like the position has an increase in salary of $3,165 per year, but it goes from the way I'm reading the document, it goes from step 16 to 25, which is a large jump, and it goes from being 205 work days to be year-round. So both of those would be a compensation, and yet it's only $3,000 a year?
That is correct, because we use just the difference of and the insurance is already paid for a 12-month position, so the cost of those benefits are not needing to be included.
Okay.
Well, and I think the difference between that contract and a normal work year is only like 20 days.
Yes, it is, if that.
Yeah, but step 16 to 25 seems like it would be more than just, but you know what?
With CSEA positions, sometimes that's not necessarily the case, and it depends on the salaries in CSEA positions are not always as large as like a teacher's or an administrator position. So when the increments might be big, but the slices might be small.
And questions asked and answered, it's right, that's fine. I just Move to approve CSEA classified job description and salary, or revised CSEA classified job description and salary.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Item G, consider approval of declaration of need for fully qualified educators for the 2016-17 school year. Staff report?
Yes, we do this every year. It allows us to hire probe zeros, which could be interns, terms that we've been talking about for the last 2 years, STIPs and PIPs, which are people, pre-intern positions essentially. But anyways, it allows us to hire people to teach in this era of teacher shortage with the proper, as they're working on getting the proper credentialing.
Any board discussion?
Move to approve the declaration of need for fully qualified educators for the 2016-2017 school year.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. Information discussion items. Item A, 2016-17 Local Control Accountability Plan, Annual Update. This is the first reading.
So really quickly, there's been a year-long process. The LCAP is a 3-year plan. There's an annual renewal in July. We've been working, reaching out to the community and through the school sites and through all of our committees to gather information about the renewal and the changes and amendments. These represent all the changes and was approved at our last DAC meeting to move forward to the board. There'll be a public hearing at a special board meeting on June 13th. We need to verify the attendance of board members for that, so we have a quorum, and we believe the time is 5:30, but we'll verify that. The LCAP, these public hearings, there's one for the LCAP, and there's one for the LCAP budget. We made this decision, we brought it to the board much earlier in this school year. It allows Alvina extra time to get all the budget pieces together while she's working on the district budget. And so this special hearing our special meeting is simply to reflect that what we brought forward earlier, which was she needs more time. So we're going to do it this way. Any questions?
I would like to thank Dr. Gill and everyone else that contributed to this long, tedious process and this annoying document that needs to be revised.
The document needs to be revised every year for the 3-year document, right? Just so people understand how.
I mean, you weren't at the last meeting, but CSBA is actually is involved with 30 other stakeholders, and they're working on the next revision of this. So hopefully we can remove some of the redundancies and make this a more user-friendly.
Yeah, don't call it user. At 100 pages, it'll take a whole lot to make it actually user-friendly, so.
Yes.
100
Thank you very much for all the work on it.
page.
Alvina, thank you for your numbers.
Mr. President, I did commit to being available on that day before I got my new job. Mondays it's just a mandatory day. If we do not, like, if there's a risk that we're not going to have a quorum, then I can probably figure something out.
We'll figure it out with staff. If we have a problem, we'll make adjustments. Staff we'll figure it out.
I'm available,
Thank you.
so.
Item B is the CSBA Annual Education Conference 2016.
It's a formal invite and request of who's attending the annual conference, and it's the window for the least expensive price right now.
And I would love to attend, but given my current,
Come on, man.
I want to go, but I'm not going to ask the district to spend money if I'm not planning on staying on the board. It doesn't seem a reasonable expenditure of district funds. So if I change my mind, I will let you know, and I will cover any additional costs personally.
So that's a no?
So I will not attend. Not at this point.
All right.
I will be attending, and if I am no longer eligible to attend, then my replacement can be sent, I suppose.
You'll be on through the end of the year.
Actually,
Yeah.
what are the dates? Is this after?
No,
I can't remember.
it's November, isn't it?
No.
It's the first
No,
week.
it's-
Usually it's the first week of December.
Yeah, so.
This
you'd
one's
still-
in San Francisco.
Even after the election, they don't seat until January.
Right.
So-
Technically, I'll
You'll still be on the board.
still be on the board.
Okay. Well, and I have to be there, so I'm going.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm going.
Okay, next item's calendar.
That's the smallest calendar we've ever had.
Special meeting on the 13th, next regular governing board meeting on June 15th, and there's the dates for some committee stuff down there. With that, momentarily, we're going to be adjourning to closed session, where we're going to be talking about item A, public employee discipline dismissal release complaint. Item B, public employee appointment, employment evaluation superintendent. Item C, conference with labor negotiators. Item D, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. Item E, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. Item F, conference with legal counsel. And item G, conference with real property negotiators.
I move we adjourn to closed session.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with one absent. We are now in closed session. Thank you, everyone.